Hello everyone, Melody here, mama of 4 in our blended family of 6. Welcome to Homeschool Happy Hour. Today's video is going to be a quick look at the start of our 6th grade school year. If you are new to our channel, I have been homeschooling for 9 years now. This is our 9th year. My youngest homeschooler just started her 6th grade year this year. I've had a video that goes over all of the curricula that we're using with her this year, but I have made a couple changes. We're about a month and a half into the school year, and I wanted to show you our planning system that we're using this year, as well as share with you a couple of the adjustments we've made in the first month. If you're an experienced homeschooler, then you know that we make a plan, we test the plan, we adjust the plan as needed. That's just how we do it. If we stick really hardcore to a plan and refuse to adjust, that's when we tend to run into problems. So I made a plan. I got a whole video about that if you want to see all of our curriculum for the year. And about a month and a half in, we've made some adjustments. So I just wanted to share with you the way that we organize and show you some of those adjustments. If you caught my previous video about our first year homeschooling a high schooler, I talked about how I am no longer, I don't do a planner anymore as a parent. Instead, I'm having my kids track their own work. Of course, with my supervision as needed, depending on which kid we're talking about. I do follow a binder system. I have a binder where I keep all of my homeschool records for the year. And then each of my children have a binder of their own. This is the Bean Beans 6th grade binder. Every year I have them decorate a cover of their binder to give them ideas of the things that they want to do and work on. You'll notice she's got like the paintbrush here, and this is a rolling pin. She really wants to work on her art and baking and things like that. So in the beginning of the year, I put together a week by week tracking system. Let's see if I can pull this up. I'll pull one up from the middle. It looked kind of like this. It had on the top a place for me to write in what she should be working on during that week. And then it had on the bottom portion a place for her to write down what she actually did when she did it, highlight of the week, and then her vocabulary words that we were working on. Always, I have a quote that I put up on the board in our schoolroom each week. This is all based on a 36-week school year. Unfortunately, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I printed all this off. I color coded it kind of by section, and I started working through the year with her, and it wasn't working. I was putting what she needed to do in the top, but then she wasn't doing her portion and putting what she needed to do in the bottom. In September, I took a couple trips, and so she was expected to work a little bit more independently, and it didn't work out. She demonstrated she wasn't quite ready to take on that much independence and be able to get her schoolwork done successfully. Rather than become frustrated with her, I decided that my approach needed to change, because I do like the idea of her tracking her own schoolwork and taking that responsibility. And for the prisoner, that works really well, but they're very different people. If you follow along with my videos, you will hear me talk a lot about catering to the individual, because every child is different. Yes, they're both raised in my home. They're both genetically, biologically my children. They have the same or similar life experiences. They've been raised together. They're very different people. And that's just the way it is. So rather than try and say, this is the way that it worked for one of my children, I'm going to replicate it for my other child, I change and adjust as needed to meet their individual needs. That being said, I took this original plan of the planning system that I had, and I basically just threw it out. Instead, I decided to go with a daily plan system for her. If you look inside her binder and open it up, you will immediately see in the front pocket, I have her daily planner. And then the very first thing after that is her course of study. I go through each subject that we intend to work on, and then I have written down all the different resources that she might use to work toward that subject. This can change as the year goes on. If she finds a resource that she's really enjoying, we just add it to the list. This is just a way for me to track what we have used throughout the year, or what we could use throughout the year. When you turn the page, I have our entire school year written in and highlighted based on where they're at. We do a 3-day school week system. They are with their biological father every other weekend for an extended weekend. And so they have school time with him as well. So we definitely meet our state's criteria for the amount of time we put into school. But in our home, we're just working on a 3-day system. Then you can see the next thing, I have tabs in her binder. Our first tab is her daily plan. I have written on the board in our schoolroom the quote of the week, and then she's supposed to copy that down and do her own version of the quote for her handwriting to practice her cursive. If I have a day where I am subbing for the day, I go through and I fill out the subject on the side, and then I fill out what she's expected to complete in the middle. Once she has completed the assignment, then I have her put a check mark in the box over here. You can see if I am not home, so you can kind of see the difference in some of our handwriting. If I'm not home and she is going to be working independently because I'm substituting, then she knows everything she needs to work on. When I am home, which is the majority of the time, then she fills this out with my supervision as we work through the schoolwork together. I've talked before about the prisoner and how much the prisoner likes to work independently, but Bean Bean really prefers to work with me. And so I'm trying to make sure I'm setting aside ample amounts of time to do her schoolwork with her. She has, her first thing is she is taking an OutSchool class. If you've not checked out OutSchool, I strongly suggest you take a moment to do so. It's a great resource. They have classes for pretty much anything you can imagine. Sometimes they're a one-time class, sometimes they're a repeated class, sometimes they're just for a short period of time, 5 days a week, or maybe they're just once a week. It's all across the spectrum. There's all kinds of classes. She's taking a baking class, and so she has her first tab for baking, which we haven't put anything in yet, but where she can keep track of recipes or anything like that. She also just does baking in the house. So sometimes, like if she takes pictures of what she's baked, just to keep track of the work that she's done. Our next tab is ELA. In the front of the ELA tab, I have our editing notes that we used from last year to keep track. And then she has her composition pieces that she's working on. And then of course our lightning literature. This I have discovered is best done together. We walk through this hand in hand just because she gets more out of it. She understands it more when she has somebody to discuss it with and have a back and forth with. Our next tab is math. She is doing Beast Academy for math. She also is using a big fat math notebook and plays math games. This is really just a place for her to keep notes as she goes. If she's doing the big fat math notebook, she keeps track of the answers, the quizzes that she's done. For science, she is doing Generation Genius. So we've got a place for her to keep track of her vocabulary words, or any quizzes that she takes that we print off can all go in here. I have added Spanish more officially back into her plan. So she's got the Skill Builders Spanish book. It's just a little tiny book that she's working through, and then we do some YouTube Spanish videos and those kinds of things. In the back of her book, she has a reading list. She hasn't filled anything out in here. The kids tend to forget to put their books in here, so I need to take the time to go back and be like, what did you read this week? Put it on your reading list. It's good to keep track of. If you watch the video for the prisoner in her high school year, keeping track of these things is really important in high school. If you're later creating a transcript and creating credits for the work that they've done, it's hard to do that. You might think later, oh, well, I'll remember and I'll just put it down, but it can be overwhelming. So your best bet is to keep track. At this point with Bean Bean, I'm just trying to get her in the habit of keeping track. Whether or not she has these things on record is really not that big of a deal. Our last tab is art. So she loves art, she loves to paint, she loves to draw. And so we try and incorporate that into our daily lessons as much as possible. We've been trying to take advantage of the library. Right now we're working our way through this book. It's been a lot of fun. Eureka, the most amazing scientific discoveries of all time. She's really into science and art and math, and this is kind of her jam, if you will. And so I've been trying to incorporate more of that into our routine because those are the things she's really interested in. Some of these things that we're doing now changed from our original plan. I did not intend to be quite as involved in her day-to-day, like doing all the lightning literature with her, but that's what she needed. And I feel like while it is partially my job as a homeschool mom to encourage them to be independent, we value independence a lot in our home. I see the number one job of parenting, I always my goal is to put myself out of a job. I don't want them to need me to do things for them. I want them to be able to do for themselves. However, there's a progression there. And so she's still needing for me to do things with her, and I'm happy to do it. I enjoy having the one-on-one time with her. It's a great time. She is my one kid who is all in on homeschooling. The prisoner occasionally is talking about maybe wanting to do public school. Bean, at least at this point in time, is very I don't ever want to go to public school. I want homeschool forever. This is what I love to do. And so we will continue homeschooling with her and trying to meet her needs where she's at as best we can. As a 6th grader, she finally has the opportunity to participate in school sports. So she has decided that she wants to do cheer for her 6th grade year. So on top of just doing our regular homeschool work, every day, Monday through Friday, I take her to the school for cheer practice. I think that pretty much covers what she's got. You can look at the curriculum that we're using in detail in my other video that talks about our 6th grade curriculum plan. But that kind of gives you an idea of how we put that all together, our schedule. The last thing I wanted to show you is our bin. For organization purposes, each of my children has a bin. Hers is somewhat empty and messy, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it has a bell in it. I don't know why. I don't know. She does have a number of online classes, not online classes, but online resources that she uses, like Beast Academy and Generation Genius are online programs, which means less books. So I prefer books, but she really does prefer the engagement of either in person, me interacting with her, or she likes being online to do her stuff. So I can't think of anything else. That's pretty brief. If you have any questions about how we've put together our 6th grade year, please make sure and drop a comment in the box below. If you are new to this channel and you have stuck around to the end, thank you for sticking with me. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and if you're interested, you can check us out on Instagram at Homeschool Happy Hour. I will warn you that when it comes to my YouTube videos, I kind of try and keep politics and religion out of it because it's about resources and learning styles and stuff like that. But my Instagram, it's more personal. It's more about the things that are happening in our day-to-day lives, and occasionally I'll share my thoughts on something that would be considered political. That's not really like the go-to there, but that stuff does pop up. So if that bothers you, maybe don't follow me on Instagram. Either way, it's your choice. I'm happy to meet new people. So if you are new to this channel, make sure you drop a comment in the box below and give me a shout, say hi. And if you have questions about homeschooling 6th grade, which in our state is the start of junior high, then drop a comment and ask me that question. Otherwise, I will catch you next time.